Hi, and welcome to A Cup of Tea. I'm the Fi.
And I'm the water. And
I messed it up.
yeah, that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. We can improvise.
Never mind. Hi, I'm the Fi.
And I'm the water. And you're listening to A Cup of Tea.
A podcast about exploring life through each other's eyes.
While sharing a cup of tea with you.
Today I'm drinking coffee.
And
Because I guess I needed.
She needed it, yeah. And I'm drinking tea. So, what was it that we're going to talk about?
Well,
You
first
had the
of all,
idea.
Before we get into that, let me share with you my story of how I doped myself accidentally.
Yeah, it was funny.
I'm just like, I'm baffled. I'm just like, how? I don't even know. No. Okay, so me and Pablo have been getting each other sick for like a couple of weeks now.
Uh-huh.
And I think I started it because we had this thing where like, he's such a mom. It was raining and we were walking in the rain and he was like, okay, now we need to shower. But it wasn't like pour down rain. It was just like cheapy.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning it was like drizzling.
Yeah.
And for some reason or another, I was like, no, I don't want to shower. I don't want to get my hair wet. Because, I was like wearing my beanie, I was wearing my jacket, and like, I was like, no, it's late. I don't want to shower.
Mm-hmm.
And Paolo was like, you're going to get sick if you don't shower because you were walking in the rain. I'm like, no, I'm not going to get sick. But I got sick. So.
Haha.
See, he's such a mom.
He is. He was such a mom.
Exactly. So I got sick and then I got him sick. I got better. And then he got me sick and he got better. And then at some point we sort of like got better, both of us, somehow. And he was taking medication just like off the counter. And I was not taking any. I was like, no, my body will take care of this. My body will fight the battle that needs to be fought and I'll come out of it. No medication needed. And it worked. I mean, grant you, it took me like 2 weeks to get better, but no medication.
Yeah.
And Pablo's not the best at taking his medication. He would like take it like every 8 hours if he remembered or if I reminded him. But anyways, so we both got better at some point. Finally, he went to Seattle. He got sick in Seattle. He came back. He got me sick. And it all started again. This time, I felt myself getting sick in the middle of the night. And the first time that I got sick, it was like he was very coughy. But I was just like a sore throat kind of thing. But this time I felt a headache and I felt it in my ears and I was very afraid of getting an ear infection because I've got it a couple of times and the doctor was like, if you get a third infection, it'll go to your ears and it'll happen again. And I'm like, no, please, no. Because it was horrible. I'm really scared of it. So I was like, no, this can't happen again. So like I immediately started taking the same medication that Pablo was taking, mind you. But I read the box and it was like, take it every 4 hours. I was like, I'll take it every 4 hours.
That's a lot. I mean, I feel like if you have to take it every 4 hours at night, is that the thing too?
Well, it just says take it every 4 hours.
Interesting.
I was just following instructions. So this is the kind of medication that the box comes with daytime and nighttime pills. And I guess I first took the nighttime ones because I started feeling it at night. And then I took them for a whole day and I went to work. And then
she did go to work.
That was not the day.
No.
Oh, okay, yes. So I went to work and I was feeling sick, but the medication was helping. And then I took the nighttime ones again. This was the second night. I guess by now we're getting towards the first 24 hours taking the medication. And the next day, it was my day off.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm just going to rest instead of, because I should have been, of course, like my days off consist of working on pockets and ACOT and film and editing and all of that stuff. So instead of doing that, I was like, no, I need to take care of this. I will sleep as much as I can. I will rest. I will let my body handle this with the aid of the medication. So I was like, okay, so in my head, I don't know where I got this from, but I thought that the only difference between the nighttime and daytime medication was going to be that the daytime medication would have caffeine and the nighttime medication wouldn't have caffeine. Is there such a thing? Is that where I'm getting this from?
I don't know. I still don't know what the ingredients of the thing are.
Well, I don't know if I got this from some other medication. I don't know where I got it from, but in my head, that was the difference between the daytime and the nighttime medication. So I was like,
I mean, that is a difference. I don't think it's the only difference.
It is not. Spoiler alert. So I was like, I'm just going to take nighttime medication all day and rest as much as I can.
Yeah, because sounds like a great idea.
I thought it was. And I did sleep most of the day. That was great. So I slept for most of the afternoon. Like in the morning, Pablo was here with me and I had breakfast and we were going to like play some video games or whatever, but I was falling asleep and I was like, okay, I'll just go to bed. I won't force myself. Went to bed, slept for most of the afternoon. And at night, we were watching, I think, the latest episode of The Last of Us, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we started watching The Mandalorian because there's a new season.
Yeah.
And there was this very funny moment where I was looking at Pablo and he was staring back at me. And we tease each other a lot. Well, the thing is that I tease him a lot when he's sick because he like grunts a lot and like and coughs and like I make fun of him. So when I get sick, he tries to do it back at me, but he's not good at teasing me. He's so good. He's bad at being bad, but he's really good at being good. So he tries to tease me. And so I was looking at him, like, I guess with a lost eyes. I was like, the thing is that, like, when you're high and you kind of, like, lose
like you're
just, like, looking.
Into the void?
Not even, like, into the void, but with amazement.
Oh, yeah.
You know? At something.
You're just, like, gawking or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like that. And I was doing that to him. And so I was staring at him. And then he was staring back at me. But it looked funny. He was imitating me. And I was like, why are you looking at me like that? And he's like, because you're looking at me like that. And I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, it dawned on me. And I was like, I feel dopey. And he was like, yeah, you look doped. I'm like, I think it's the medication. And I really started feeling like, I told you that it was like some LSD shit.
Yeah.
Not like a good LSD trip, not like visions that I can see with my eyes and things that I can hear with my ears. But in my head, because it's different. It's different.
I just thought of, like, the way you said it sounded so funny, like, things that you can see with your eyes and that you can hear with your ears. And I thought of, like, that synesthesia thing.
Well, yeah, because it's different. There's outside stuff that you can perceive when you're tripping, but there's also inside stuff that's only in your mind.
Yeah.
So it was only in my mind. And when I first started noticing it, I wasn't tripping per se. I was just like getting into the trip.
Mm-hmm.
When I was telling Pablo, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I was making fun of you. I didn't know you felt dopey. I'm like, I didn't know either. So I went to bed, and I went to bed and I was actually tripping. I was seeing things in my head. And like, mind you, I've had some trips with like actual LSD. So like I know what I'm talking about. And I was like, what? I was amazed. I like did not think that I could be tripping this much on flu medication.
I mean, neither did I know.
I was like, wow, what in the world? Mind you, it was very eye-opening in a creative way.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave me thoughts and images
Look
and
at that.
ideas. And I was like, it was funny because I was conscious in a
Do
way of...
you remember them?
I do.
Okay.
But for another time.
Okay.
For other projects. And it was funny because I feel like when I'm actually tripping on LSD, I can't...
Like when does any Sunday?
Of course. I can't direct my trip, but I could in that moment.
Oh.
Like I was like, okay, I'm tripping.
That sounds like that stage of dreaming when you're like on
When
the
you can
verge
control
of
the
being
dream.
awake. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm tripping. Okay, let's trip in a productive way. And I was like, okay, let's trip about this thing that I need to think of this project that we're trying to make. And I started tripping about that. And that was really cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I was like, wow, I didn't know I could direct my trip in a direction I needed it to be. So that was very cool.
Maybe we should try again.
No, I am done. I am so tired of tripping. Because, okay, I tripped the whole night, but I actually slept some. And then it was the morning, and I thought I wouldn't go to work, but it was the morning. And I had slept for most of the day before and last night, so I was like,
oh, that's what when you told me, I told you it sounded very much like my year of rest and relaxation of you, but you still haven't read it. So
I see.
You don't know, yeah.
No.
It kind of sounds like that, if you know what I mean.
I don't, because I haven't read it. So I was like, no, it's okay. I can go to work. It's fine. It's coming down. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
So I had breakfast. I told Pablo I was still feeling a little like, woo. But that I was probably fine. And it's one of those days where I go to work at the same time that he goes to school. So like we actually took the train together. And we rode together, and I was kind of like absent-minded. But it was nice because I had him there. And then he left, and then I was alone. And that wasn't so nice. I was still like, it's okay, I got it. Like it was weird. I could feel it in my body. It was like my perception was trippy. Because I mean, when you're high on weed, I feel like it feels different than when you're high on LSD. So these felt more LSD than weedy. But you could probably still kind of be like, yeah, it's kind of similar. But yeah, the perception feels different. It feels like you're looking at it in a third person kind of way. Kind of. It's weird. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. So anyways, I made it to work. I made it. I got to work, and I ran into one of my coworkers on the way to work, and we're chatting and whatever. And I was telling her, I was like, I got sick, and I took this medication off like whatever simple medication my boyfriend had been taking it, and I was tripping, and I couldn't believe it. And she was like, "What? Really? What are your symptoms? How are you feeling?" She's really nice. And I was like, I don't know. It just feels loopy. And she's like, I think you should stop taking that medication. And I'm like, I guess. Like, what? I could not believe that flu medication was making me trip this much.
I mean, I also think you should stop taking it if it's making you trip that much. Unless you want to actually do the trip, you know?
Like, I'd rather do an actual LSD trip for 8 hours and be done with it than this. This is weird. So we got to work and whatever, and then I was telling another one of my friends' coworkers. And she was like, maybe you need coffee. And I'm like, maybe that would sober me up. That sounds like a good idea. But I didn't want to like disturb her, so I was just like, no, it's okay, I have tea, don't worry. But I guess like I wasn't saying it in a very convincing way. Like, to my defense, I guess the first friend that I told, she was like, you don't look like you're not feeling well. So I was like, well, at least I'm hiding it. Enough from my work.
Yeah.
But I guess when I was telling the second friend about it, I was like, no, it's okay, I have my tea. She was like, no, I'll get you coffee. I'll go upstairs, I'll get you coffee, I'll put it in your locker, and then you go and you make it yourself. Because she had instant coffee, and I was like, okay. At some point in that conversation, I gave up trying to say no. And I was just like, whatever you tell me. I'm just like, I'm in autopilot now. I don't know what's happening anymore. So she did the thing. I came back. I went, got my coffee. She gave me cookies. She was like, just take the cookies, take the coffee. Don't worry, it's gonna be okay.
That is so cute.
She's so nice. And I was like, okay, fine. And I was really trying. I felt like in this, like, I can't control the trip thing. I was like, what if I become super paranoid at work and then I mess it up? But I didn't. You know, it was just a thought. Like, I didn't actually go there. So that was good. Nothing happened. Nobody else at work found out, except for the people I told about. And I had coffee, and that was helping me. And I don't think I took any more medication then. I might have taken more day medication. I don't remember. Since then, I haven't taken nighttime medication, I don't think. But like today, I took daytime medication again. Because even Pablo was like, well, just don't take the nighttime medication anymore. Because I read the box and like it does say that like, oh, the nighttime medication like helps you get rid of the runny nose so that you can actually sleep, and the daytime medication helps with whatever other thing. So I don't know what in the ingredients is tripping me. Well, I actually looked it up. There's one of the things, but it's not the main ingredient. It's like DMX or something like that. I don't remember. And I, because I Googled, I was like, can flu medication make you trip? And they were like, oh yeah, it's this thing. Where's my phone? I can
Here.
I Googled it. Let me see. But that wasn't the main ingredient in the actual thing. Can flu medication.
I mean, like when you told me the thing of like, can flu medication make you trippy? I thought, I mean, yes, NyQuil. That's what people exactly take NyQuil.
DXM. I was very close. DXM, dextromethorphan, is a cough suppressant. The cough suppressant is in the medication.
Like dexamethasone, actually,
but it's not the main ingredient. So yeah, no. I don't know. That's I am amazed. I am baffled. And still, so today, again, last night, didn't take the nighttime medication. And today, I like, the medication worked because my throat stopped hurting. Like, I think we're on the clear now when it comes to getting a throat infection, an ear infection, any sort of infection. Right now, all my sickness is like my runny nose, because I don't even have a cough. So it's just my runny nose.
Well, that's fine. But better.
I stopped taking my medication, and then this morning I got super runny nose, and I was like, I'll just take the daytime one. Maybe the daytime one won't make me trip. But I took it, and I can feel it right now. So I'm like tripping a little bit.
That's so weird. Wait. So
I know.
Does the DXM?
Yeah.
Does it come in both, like the daytime and the nighttime?
I think so.
Because I mean, I guess I don't know.
Maybe it's just still in my system.
Yeah.
And I need to stop it. But yeah, like right now I don't feel it so much in like my perception. I feel it in my body where like, I don't know if you've had this tripping on weed where it's like, I don't think so, but let me, I don't know. Tripping on weed where I mean, yes, when you trip on weed, like your sensations are very heightened. But this kind of makes me want to like curl. You know, like it makes me want to go like this. And that's what I'm feeling right now. Like it's very like weird. And I get that with acid, but not so much with weed. Because with weed, I feel like it's more like ooh. I mean, with acid too, but there's a point in the acid trip where it's like more like this that I'm feeling right now. So I have no idea what's going on.
Interesting.
How so?
Interesting. Like I don't. Okay, so I want to understand that. Like so if you're just listening to us and not watching, it's like you're hugging yourself.
Well, it's not like, a hugging thing. It's like a curling. It's like a
curl up. Like,
but it's not a fussy thing. No, it's not a warm.
Oh,
it's not a.
Okay.
It's not. No. It's like a like if you want to stretch kind of thing.
Okay.
It's I don't know how to describe it, but like when you when you are sick and you're like cuerpo cortado. How do you say that in English?
Like body aches?
Yeah, it's like and your body aching, like you don't have this kind of like no one touch me kind of thing.
Oh, I mean, not really. It's just like it's very hard for me in general to have that level of a flu so that I have body ache. Like the only time I can remember right now is when I got one of the COVID vaccines. That I did feel horrible. Like my joints hurt and I could like I remember being barely able to lift my arm. I was like, oh, this hurts. It was not like flinching pain, more of a sore thing, I guess. I don't know if that describes.
Well, it's not like I don't feel like, ooh, don't touch me. And I don't feel achy. It's just like a bodily response of wanting to curl. Just
instead of like reflexy.
Yeah. It's instead of like feeling, because again, I feel like when you and I have tripped on weed, it's very like ooh and like nice, you know, like velvety kind of thing. You know? But this, and I don't know if it's because I'm tripping and I have the flu and they kind of like are mixing together.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what's making me feel like I need to curl up.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm feeling right now. That's the still a little bit of trippiness in my system, in my body, in my sensation.
Yeah.
And I got super tired. Like in the morning, I was like, oh, it's a new day. We are feeling better. The tripping is done. I cleaned the house. I showered. I had breakfast. I was working. And I took the freaking medication. And then I was like, I need to take a nap.
Wow, that sounds so...
I know. I'm tired of it. I don't know what's going on.
No, it does sound like... Okay, so... Again, and this is something that I kind of wanted to talk about at some point, but I was wondering if you wanted to read the book, because my year of rest and relaxation is, I don't know when it came out, but this book from the author's name is Otessa Moshfegh, and it's about this woman who at the beginning of the 2000s, it's like the end of 2000, the beginning of 2001, decides that she's going to go through a year of like literal rest and relaxation, quote unquote, which consists of basically doping herself to not have to live. So like kind of very disassociating kind of thing. And it's like very, I feel like it's very deep and satirical at the same time. And the reviews that I had been reading were like, oh, this book is hilarious. I laughed all the way through. And to me, I'm like, I didn't actually laugh all the way through. There are funny moments. There are things that are ridiculous for sure. And I can see the satire of it. But anyway, so it's this woman who decides to basically close off her life for a year. And she's I don't know that she's a nepo baby necessarily, but she's like, she describes herself as a WASP, which is a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. And so she's a rich white girl from Manhattan, basically. And she lives in some apartment in New York, and she starts her, I don't exactly remember how the book starts, but it's something like, so I woke up and the cold marble of my floor and my satin pajamas, but I put on my coat and I walked downstairs to go to the bodega and get 2 cups of coffee. One, I drank right away. Oh, like 2 cups of coffee with 2 sugars and milk and whatever, like disgusting coffee. But she would drink one on the way to her apartment or something, like super quick, like she would chug it basically, and then she would sip out the other one throughout the day or whatever. And then she goes on to talk about how she went to find a therapist, and she found the world's stupidest. Like, that is a caricature. Like, that therapist, yeah, I can see the satire there. Who just starts prescribing her a bunch of shit. Like, it starts with like Valium, Ambien, Zoloft, Xanax, like any kind of anxiety, depression, whatever medication you can think of. She's on everything. And it comes to a point where she actually makes up medication names. She has this one named Infirmideral, which doesn't exist. And it completely knocks her out for like 3 days in a row. And she starts blacking out and doing stuff while blacking out. And yeah, so it kind of sounds like that a little bit. Like the kind of drug that just, yeah, like puts you in like a downer. I mean, I guess it is a downer. The sleeping, not the sleeping medication, the nighttime one. But man, that sounds kind of wild.
It's been very wild. Like honestly, it's been so weird. I don't understand. And I don't understand, like I guess I did take too much of it, but I even today, this morning, I checked the box again because it comes in like packets with 2 pills, and I was like, maybe I'm silly and I'm only supposed to take one of the pills every 4 hours. But no, it says that I need to take both of them every 4 hours.
It sounds insane to me that you have to take it every 4 hours.
That's what it says.
It's like, I feel like most medications are every 8 or 12.
Yeah. It says 4.
Weird.
It says 4. So, I don't know. And like, it's that thing of, I think yesterday was the day that we were both like, we're just going to do one thing, get through it.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And I really need it because I've been sick and I've been tripping. I was like not focused enough to doing the work that I needed to do. But then I was like, okay, now I need to do it. And I wasn't taking medication anymore yesterday, but I couldn't. It was like working was so difficult. And then this morning, again, I did take the daytime, but it was later. Like, once I had breakfast, I was working before breakfast. And it took me forever to get through my task. And I'm just like, it's that thing where when you were saying, like, unless you actually want to trip, and I'm like, no, I actually don't. And it's reminding me of a conversation I think we had at some point. Of, I think we were talking about alcohol. And yeah, maybe you'll remember.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're talking about like drinking, and that I said that I'm not interested in getting drunk at all anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, because I'm not saying like I need to not have a drink ever again, like I'm in AA, like, no. Because I do like tasting a drink. I do like having a drink with my food, but drinking for the sake of drinking, like, it sounds like
pathological. I don't know. That's what it sounds like to me.
I don't want to say it like that. I wasn't thinking of it like that, but in a sense, yeah. Like, I don't know if it's maturity or what. But yeah, I'm just like, I don't feel like I needed. I feel like it's been a few years since I started not drinking at parties. I think it all started when I was taking acne medication.
Yeah.
And I couldn't drink at parties. And I was like, this is kind of cool. It's a nice excuse, and nobody forces me to drink, and nobody's pushy about it. I'm just like, I'm taking medication. I can't drink. And everybody's like, oh, too bad. Anyways. And they kind of leave you alone, and it's like, oh, cool. And I can still have fun, and I don't need to drink. And in kind of like this right now, where it's like, I do have a fondness for LSD. And I'm not saying like, because this tripping medication situation has been awful, I'm like, I will never take LSD again. No, that's not the case. But it's different. Like, when I trip on LSD, it's because I'm actually aiming to do it. And I've prepared for it. And this has been a weird, continuous 3 days tripping on and off.
That sounds like such a long time, like too long.
It is too long. That's why I hate it.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, it reminded me of that like consciousness conversation we were talking about like drinking and alcohol and do you remember now?
Yeah, I know. I think it was last weekend? Not this weekend, but like a week ago.
Yeah, not that long ago.
When we went to the movies, I feel like, or we
To
did
dinner?
something, and then we went to dinner. And I think you had a whiskey sour.
Oh,
and
yeah, I discovered that I like those.
Yeah, and we started, and I said something about.
I still can't believe there's eggs in it, but continue.
I said something about drinking.
Oh, because I think you said you wanted to party.
I did.
And get drunk.
Yeah, I did. And so the thing is, it's I always when we were in high school and stuff, for example, I feel like that's the time when most people start going to parties and start getting drunk, and you go through the first times when you black out or you throw up, or that's that level of drunkenness. And I had never done that. And I remember very specifically this time that I was teaching a photography class at school, and I went out with my class with with all of them to this restaurant downtown, and we were having lunch, and somebody started the conversation about how much they could drink at a party. And this one guy was like, "Oh, I can drink a whole bottle of tequila at a party." And I was like, "Are you insane?
That
What
sounds
the
insane.
hell?"
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody asked me what my drink was or something along those lines, and I said, I've never been drunk. Like, I've never been drunk at a party. I've never
Like
got
drunk,
into
drunk,
the
drunk.
yeah.
Not tipsy. Had you been tipsy by then? Or
I
no?
don't know, actually.
Mm.
Maybe a little bit.
Mm.
Yeah, probably a little bit.
Okay.
But not in a, oh, I know how much it takes me to get drunk kind of way at all.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy that I was talking to was like, "So, like, nothing, never?" And I said, "No, I mean, I drink wine, like, having dinner with my family or something like that, but not as in I'm gonna go party and drink however much." And then cut to a couple, I think, or 1 year later, or something after that, when I was in my exchange semester, that I did get drunk for the first time. And I remember the first party where I got drunk because I was there with one of my friends, and it was just the two of us. Like, I don't know why the rest of our friend group didn't go to that party. And she brought 2 cans or 4 cans of cider. And I brought a bottle of wine, and we were going to share it. And I told her at some point at the party, like, "Oh my God, I'm so drunk. I've never been drunk in my life. This is so funny." And that was with, 2 cans of cider, which were like 5% alcohol. And half a bottle of wine. And it was very funny, and I had a good time. And also, even though I kept drinking at those parties, and then I started going to pre-parties and also pre-drinking there and all of that, it was never, like, I never got blackout drunk. I never got throw up drunk or anything. It was a nice tipsiness level always, where I could have fun. I could remember, maybe not everything, but I sort of knew what was going on, and it was nice. It was kind of like being high. Of course, it's not quite the same feeling, but yeah, I could sort of equate it to that. And then what we were talking about that day was that I said I wanted to party and I wanted to go out and have fun and, like, not think. I feel like there's this cliche of, oh, I needed a drink at the end of the day because I was so tired and so exhausting, and I don't want to think, and I don't want to feel anything very, you know? And I don't like that idea at all.
Well, I think there's the two cliches where it's like, one is the 40-year-old woman that's drinking wine in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah.
Which I don't appreciate. And there's the other cliche of the, like, which I don't know which one you were thinking of, but it sounded to me more like I need a drink at the end of the day
to forget about my problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. Or even the the type of show where they have whiskey and they pour themselves a glass, or like having that as a, I guess, is a sort of medication, like a way to dope themselves. I'm like, why do people do that? Like, and the thing is that I kind of caught myself doing that a little bit, of being like, I wanna also, maybe the easiest way to have fun, quote unquote, is to have a drink, because then you enter this different state of mind where you start thinking about different things, not the things that are constantly worrying you or stressing you out. And so it can be a quick getaway.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because I feel like when we were talking about it at that dinner with my whiskey sour, we got into it because you wanted to drink
Yeah.
And like not think about something that you were going through.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I feel like I asked you, like, why do you feel like you need to drink?
Yeah. That sounded so alcoholic. Like, it's so Alcoholics
Is that when you
Anonymous
cut
kind of thing.
yourself, or is that not the thing that you were saying?
It's no, that was one of those moments, but it's something that I had thought about before once or twice. When the other day, for example, I ordered I was gonna have dinner, like, not with my roommate together, like we didn't order together, like a delivery thing. And the menu, they had like some they had a, I don't know if discount or whatever, but they gave you, if you ordered 2 ciders, they give you a 6-pack instead of just 2. Which I was like, I can do that. That sounds really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I started thinking about the concept of what's the word for that? I feel like I don't know what the word for that in English in English is, but like pedas de burro,
What?
drinking on your own.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't think I heard that.
So the first time I heard that was somebody in my family was like, "Oh yeah, she used to do this thing where the peda de burro concept is that you get drunk with the stuff on your like
Nightstand.
cabinet or nightstand or whatever, on your own." And I feel like it's the thing that, for example, one of our friends
dangerous.
does or used to do.
One of our friends?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I started thinking about it, and the thing that was interesting to me is that it's not the first time I heard it, because I also heard from different friends, like drinking by yourself and the meaning or the effect that it has, or why you're doing it. Because you can have just one glass of wine because you like it and you want to enjoy it or whatever. It's the same as having one can of cider. Because it tastes nice, like what you were saying before, that it goes with your meal or that kind of thing. But I think it's another thing entirely to drink because to have that sort of as a resource of, oh, well, I'm gonna watch a movie and I'm gonna drink a bottle of wine while watching a movie. That feels to me like it's a similar thing to saying, I'm gonna watch a movie and smoke a joint.
To like numb myself?
Yeah. To, or maybe not necessarily numb yourself,
Maybe
but
not
a different state of consciousness. And then there's some stigma associated with it, I feel like, of drinking alone, and the, why are you drinking alone? Why do you need to drink alone?
Well,
kind of thing.
Yes. Well, like when you brought up the peda de burro, the nightstand drinking. And I said it sounds dangerous, and I do think it sounds dangerous because I'm like,
yeah, it has like a connotation of lacking self-control, I feel like, to me.
To me it sounds like you want to escape yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not necessarily like why you need to drink, but why are you trying to escape yourself? And I'm in that same conversation that night that we're talking about the drinking and the state of consciousness and the stuff. And I said that I felt like I don't really want to get drunk again, like quote unquote ever. Like I don't. You asked me why, and I was like, I don't like the loss of consciousness anymore. I don't like the loss of control over myself anymore. And that was something that in our teenage years, like that's, I guess, the appeal of drinking with your friends and everybody. And it's like you loosen up, and you have fun and you let go, and And now I don't see it as something appealing. Now I see it as I don't want to be judgy. But to me now it sounds kind of dumb. Like, why would I want to lose myself?
I don't think you would lose. I see what you mean, but I think it's not necessarily, at least for me, in this train of thought, it hasn't been about losing myself, but that thing that you said about loosening up, and what I thought first was like inhibitions, like losing your inhibitions, kind of. But it's not what I think of right now anymore. It was an experience for me at parties in that environment, but
to help you have fun.
Yeah, I remember I went to this guy which very out of character of me, and I was just like, "Wow, you're so hot," and then I just left.
Very out of character.
So it's
liquid courage kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very much like that. In some parties, in some places. And now I would say that it's not a courage thing, it's distraction thing.
See, like just now when I was asking, I guess myself or not asking, but saying like, why would I want to lose myself? And it's like, or escape myself. I guess I understand that if you're going through something and you want to stop going, like thinking about it, then you want to be numb. You want to like, that's why people get into the drinking.
Yeah.
It all sounds like it's that double standard of alcohol where it's like it's so socially accepted, but people forget that like it's a drug.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe I see it now more as a drug than as the socially accepted drink. Like, not quite, because I don't want to like demonize it, because again, I still drink, I still like wine and cider and beer and stuff. I'm definitely done with the drunk thing. Not that I ever was like such a drunk to begin with. I've been drunk hasta las chanclas once in my life. In my birthday. And that was a lot of fun. I remember all of it. But that was really enough. Like the next day I was like, I'm fine not doing that again. Like, and I still want to I still want to appreciate the liquid courage thing, and again, not demonize it, not be like alcohol is evil. I think it can be evil, especially if one is not careful. Like, I appreciate you saying like, oh, I caught myself noticing that I start to think of alcohol in a getting numb kind of way.
When you say it like that, I feel like I sound like I sound like I think about that every day.
No. Like, I'm sorry. This was one conversation we had. One. So like, it's okay. Don't be worried about her. She's fine.
Yeah.
I'm keeping my eye on her. Not that you'll turn into an alcoholic, but yeah, just drugs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there within that worryingness, I guess, worry. I wouldn't worry about it because, as stated, it's not an everyday thing at all. Even now, well, I have, because now I have about Christmas time. I got oh my god, what's the name of it? Joint. I went to well, we were gonna have dinner here, and I got
Christmas dinner.
Yeah, I joined, and it was the first time that I had smoked in
a while,
4 months or something. Yeah, and then I thought, I mean, I could do this more often if I wanted to. I could do it by myself, but I feel like I stigmatize it for myself. And so now I judge myself if I want to get high on my own. I'm like, why do you want to do that here?
But do you
Why
feel
do you
like
want to do
that's
that
a bad
now?
thing that you're doing, or
No,
you're keeping yourself in check?
I guess it's keeping myself in check. I try to think about it that way. And
do you think it's because there's someone in your life that you're worried about, and then you don't want to be like that?
Like, I've seen a couple of people in my life that have had periods of time where they smoke every day. And it's I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it gives me the impression that they do it because it's the easiest way to quote unquote solve a problem, or to feel
to
like
not think about the problem.
Yeah. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like that. I rather actually work through the problem, even if it might be hard. But right now, when I've thought, like, there's been a couple times when I've thought about going for a smoke. Such a weird thing for me to say. It's so weird. And then coming back. And it's been quite fun. Like, I've done it a couple of times. I was watching YouTube videos one day, super high. It was hilarious. I had no idea what I was watching. Like, it was insane, but that was funny. And that was actually nice. And my roommate, she can't smoke. But she was like, "Oh, I wish I could get high." And I even thought, you know what? I can get gummy bears or edibles or something, and you can hang that way. You can get high too. And we can, I don't know, watch a movie or hang out or something. So I do feel this like ambivalence of, if you do it with somebody, it's fine. If you do it on your own, then that means there's a problem. That maybe it's not even a thing. Yeah. Not necessarily. But that's where my brain goes automatically. So.
I mean, in a way, I kind of appreciate it. Just so that it keeps you in check.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe that's not such a bad thing.
Yeah, no. And I do think about you know how they say weed is not addictive. In that you don't get a chemical dependency on it, but you can still get the emotional crutch, aspect of it. So I do try to be very wary about it, because I just, like, the idea of actually being addicted to something does scare me a lot, which is something that, even if we start talking about other drugs, like I've told you before, oh, we should do MDMA. But I mean, of course, there's a fentanyl crisis right now, and things are kind of wild. But I also get scared of trying something more like hard drugs, because then I feel like I'm putting myself in a spot where, what happens if I become addicted to it? And maybe I just got, like, drilled by school, like, pamphlets and stuff saying these drugs are dangerous. Maybe they did their job right. I don't know. But then that I don't know. It's like a thing that is
interesting
in my mind.
I mean, you know that I'm very pro hallucinogens.
Yeah.
So stuff in that category, I'm like okay with.
Yeah.
And I'm very into trying stuff. But I also have like a deep respect for it. Like I've never been into the idea of, like, even with weed, it took me a while to do weed in a social context. Because when I started doing weed, it was a very like time to meditate kind of thing. And it was something I did by myself. Actually, I didn't do it with people because I thought it was disrespectful to smoke weed at a party.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was only until a friend told me that he started smoking, I think, a cigarette, but it was like an organic tobacco cigarette. He would only smoke it with friends as a kind of like ceremonial social aspect, the way native people would smoke tobacco in ceremonies. And he's like, yeah, and you pass it to people, and you're having a communion, and you're just with your friends and you're smoking. And I was like, I hadn't thought of it that way. And then that kind of like opened myself to be like, okay, then this doesn't have to be this like super sacred. It's just me and the universe smoking reflection time.
That's funny. Like, I mean, it feels to me, just the way you said it, like a way to intellectualize parties a little bit, but
yeah. Intellectualizing is one of my defense mechanisms. So yes, I do that. So that was a way to be more open about smoking weed with friends. But I was still very careful who I did it with. And I don't know if it's the hippie in me or the street smart in me of like, there's bad people out there, there's bad energies out there, and if you're gonna do any kind of drugs, even alcohol, then like watch who you're doing stuff with. So even once I opened up to the idea of like, it's okay to do weed with friends, it would like, it has to be with friends, not with like random ass people.
Yeah.
So then weed became more of a, it's okay. And I stopped using it as a meditation tool. And I would do it more with friends, and like you and I have done it a lot, and we would do brownies, and our brownies are amazing.
They're legendary.
They are.
Legend.
They are. Good times. So yeah. I don't know if I was trying to make a point with all of this anymore. I kind of got lost in it. But just, I guess, I do appreciate drugs, and I don't. Oh, maybe yes, like hallucinogens and all of that. Like I'm all for it, and I have deep respect for stuff. But you know what? I've never thought. Well, like my thoughts on any other kind of drugs, where it's like, what are they called? Like
stimulants, like cocaine.
Yeah,
and that
exactly.
Kind of thing.
I don't know if it's fear, which I don't really think it's fear. It's more of a, again, it's that thing of like, maybe I'm just smart.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm being judgy if I say that. But I've never been interested.
Yeah, I think there's
stimulants,
this, okay,
like coke and ecstasies and things.
When you said the thing about being smart or being not and trying not to be judgy, but I think there's like a weakness associated with drugs in general, maybe, where you're weak and so you need this to feel something in particular, like fill in the blank with whatever you want to feel.
A weakness.
I don't know. It gave me that sense of, and I have this very, just when we were saying cocaine, I thought of there's this scene in Succession, which you haven't seen, but it's awesome, where Kendall Roy is the main character, and he has addiction problems, I think, with cocaine and alcohol and whatever. And there's a point where he is tempted into doing cocaine with one of his friends, I think. And he's like, no, I shouldn't. But his problems are so big, and he has a moment of weakness, And so he starts doing it, and he falls off the wagon, and he falls like into the black hole of nothingness. And
that sounds horrible.
I mean, it didn't quite go like this, just now that I remember how he actually fell off the wagon, which was different. But so there's, like, I don't know.
Well, I think there comes a time where I guess when you try drugs, it's all fun and games.
Yeah.
And at some point it becomes like the drug is more powerful than you, and that's when you become weak.
Yeah.
You know? Because at first I don't think it's a weakness. At first I think it's like curiosity and fun. And
I think in this particular case with that example from fiction, it is more of a recurring addiction problem thing. Not the first time you're trying them. But even so, that's the thing about, I don't know about being smart, but
because I feel like someone could be like, oh, you're smart for not taking cocaine, but you're very dumb because you do LSD. So people can say that.
There's but I would say, I don't know if it's smart. That's the thing. I think for me it's like this fear of addiction, of not knowing what you're putting into your body. Because the thing I told you the other day when we were talking about MDMA was, I would like to do it, but where do you get it? Because realistically right now, and maybe it's just that I've been reading a lot about the, like, that I told you about the fentanyl thing, and the other thing that they're doing with horse tranquilizers, and that sounds horrible. And what if you get one of those things that is bad and you start having trouble because of one time doing, like, this, I don't know, like any headline story of this person overdosed and they had never done drugs in their life before.
I mean, just now with freaking flu medication, I've been tripping for like 3 days, and it's been insane.
Yeah.
So I mean, crazy stuff. But I do like. Did you see that there was a post that I think it's becoming legal here in BC? I don't know if I'm making this up. But I kind of feel like I saw that Coke would be legal.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, so there's two parts of that. One is that people are gonna be allowed to carry certain drugs, like you're gonna be able to have heroin, cocaine, and MDMA, and a bunch of drugs that are gonna be, possession is decriminalized for personal use. And the other thing is that there's this lab here in BC that was given permission to manufacture their own cocaine, and as a sort of experiment, which I think is a cool thing to do, because there are so many problems with the sourcing of drugs and the origin and traceability and whatever, that if you know exactly where something came from and how they made it, it's a lot safer for people than something that you don't know what might be in it. So
I agree. I feel like that's the answer when it comes to drugs.
Don't do drugs, kids. Stay safe.
No, like, no, even if you're gonna do drugs, like, do them responsibly.
Yeah.
Like.
I wonder if this is gonna get us demonetized.
I don't know.
Anyway,
we're just talking about our experience. You don't need to take any of this as advice.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Should not be taken as advice.
That brings me to another thing that I guess we can talk about in another time. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna tease it so that you and I don't forget. It might make it into this episode or not. Of like cancel culture and everything and stuff, and how instead of telling people to not say things, because okay, let's say that we say something, and then people are like, why do you say that? People can hear you, people can listen to you and do whatever you say that you are doing. And it's like, it shouldn't be about like people should be allowed to say whatever they want to say.
Yeah.
And we should be teaching people to be more critical
rather
than silencing people.
Yes. I mean, that is a whole other cup of tea.
Exactly.
Because it's been, that cancel culture thing has been on my mind so much lately because of what we do. And not just us here in a cup of tea, but with other content that we're making. I'm constantly not worrying about myself, but what other people are telling me is like, oh, I don't want to get, oh, they're going to cancel us in like a funny way of as a joke. And it just annoys me so much that the concept exists. So, but yeah, that's another cup of tea.
Another cup of tea.
And I mean, I think, so my rec for today, that's where I'm going with this. It's going to be my year of rest and relaxation.
Every time you say that, I just think of Luisa in Encanto.
That is so...
And relaxation.
Funny, because it's could not be more far off.
But yeah, I don't know. It just makes me think of it. But yeah.
Yeah.
You finished it, right?
I did.
Okay. You can put it in my pile of books to read.
Sure.
Yeah, it's starting to get bigger.
Yeah. Well, do you have a rec?
No, I think I'll let you have it this time.
Okay, very well. Well, we'll join you for another cup of tea next week.
Bye.
Thanks for sharing a cup of tea with us.
To watch more episodes of A Cup of Tea, click the link on the right. If you want to watch Pockets in the Universe, go to the playlist on the left.